Did Randy or Scott say anything about that?
Scott texted later and said he would be here. As far as I know, I think Randy was coming.
Well, it's 6:30, we'll call the meeting to order, we'll start with roll call. Councilperson Holhouse. Here. Councilperson Bendel. Here. Councilperson Basky.
Here.
And we have Councilperson Huber and Johnson's currently out. Stand and say the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now it's time for public input. Keith Smith.
Well, my public input is, I see we're considering on raising our water rates. And I'm saying we have many people here who are senior citizens like myself, living on Social Security. Now, last year, at August, if I have this right, we raised our water rates $14.80 a month, which would average out to $177.60 a year. Now, you take people who are on our Social Security, like my wife and I, $177 a month would go quite a ways just on grocery bills. So, and I cannot figure, I keep hearing how we are one of the highest rates around, and how come we keep having to raise our rates every year?
Okay. Thank you, Keith.
Yep.
Armin Martin.
Yeah, I'm here for the thing on the agenda.
Okay. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
I would disagree. I'd like to amend the agenda for the regular meeting tonight and add Resolution 2025-134, a resolution for accepting a donation from Founding Fathers nonprofit for park improvements at the city of Urbana.
I've added this resolution to the back of the new agenda, if you want to go review it via email.
A motion to approve the revised council meeting agenda in addition to the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Been moved and seconded, and we will vote. Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson,
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky,
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
We'll move on to public hearing. Public hearing on Bing Mailing Overlay Project 2025. Consider resolution 2025-31 to award the bid for Bing Miller Overlay Project. And
Make a motion to enter into public hearing on the Bing Miller Overlay Project 2025.
Second.
been moved and second to go into public hearing on that. We'll vote. Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
And Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Okay, so the city has not received any comments via email, phone, or in person regarding the overlay project for Big Miller Lane.
Have you used both of these companies before?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's not a problem with them.
Good.
I'll motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Been moved and second to close the public hearing. We'll vote. Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
And Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Okay, so with that, is the resolution 2025-131 to award the bid for Big Miller Lane. And with that, you received a bid tab from City Engineer John Larson, as well as a memo in regards to the bids that came in. Would you like to share your recommendation with the council?
Yeah, so we got very good bids, one from Kleesner, one from Pelling. Kleesner does tremendous work. I think Trent likes working with them. They do this, Prairie Road Builders that are one of their subsidiaries, it's a seal coat in here, so. Yeah, they're reputable, and with that, I recommend award to the low bidder, Kleesner Construction.
Did they give a start date when they could do that?
Not yet. We have a completion date on there, end of November, just to get it done before the plants close down for the winter. And I did talk to Craig over there a couple weeks ago, and he thought maybe they could squeeze it in August, so sooner than we anticipated. So we'll see, but yeah, once we get pending approval of this, the award, once we go on contract signing, pre-construction meeting and everything else, we'll head down and start the April run and go from there. So sometime this fall, possibly even in August. So
Is there a lot of work to do prior to that transfer? Okay, everything's,
That's a pretty clean job.
okay, great.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2025-131 awarding the bid to Kleesner Construction.
Second.
Been moved and second to pass resolution 2025-131. We'll vote. Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
And Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Item B, public hearing on chapter 92 water rates. First,
Would make a motion to enter the public hearing on chapter 92 water rates.
Second.
been moved and second to go into the public hearing. We'll vote. Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
And Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Do you have anybody on your list for public hearing for water rates.
No. Oh, wait, well, Keith was on there, Armin is on for something different, but that's what they signed under.
Okay, so public hearing, ordinance 922, an ordinance amending the 2013 Code of Ordinances of the City of Urbana, Iowa by amending provisions pertaining to Chapter 92 utility billing rates. Section 1, Section Modified Chapter 92, Section 02 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Urbana, Iowa is repealed and the following adopted in lieu thereof. 92.02 rates of service. Water shall be furnished at the following monthly rates within the city. And the gallons used per month, the first 2,000 gallons, the rate would increase by 5% from $23 to $24.15. 2001 and over gallons per month, a 5% increase from $9.60 to $10.08 per 1,000 gallons over. And the flat capital fee of $10 would be no change. Obviously, this comes in lieu of the last year and a half that we've been working on the water storage tank pump house improvements. And I believe I shared the timeline with the city council where the project has started. In addition to the recommendation from Maggie at Spear Financial, who does the city finances. And last year, we started these conversations at a specific rate of increase that needed to happen within the city to cover the costs of the SRF loan. And based on the last information that we'll get in from the construction loan that we'll discuss later this evening on how that will work out, basically determined only doing the 5% as opposed to an overall 40% increase, I believe, is where we started a year and a half ago, was a 40% usage increase with a $17 capital fee. Right now, we have the flat capital fee of $10, and this increase to the water will put us at a 25% increase, which, as you know, the water bills in Urbana went up in October of 2024 for the first increase, which was the 20% and the $10 capital fee. What else happened? And then we were going to go based on the recommendation before the construction loan started, which is what we'll talk about also tonight, with a recommendation from Spear Financial on how we will break out the construction loan, which is allowing us to keep only a 25% increase on this project as opposed to the 40% increase that we started at. So this would be considered the first reading for ordinance 922.
Why didn't we move the effective date up? This was supposed to be started next.
Yes.
July 26th.
So, yep, so when I spoke regarding the rates, her email said July of 26. It's actually July of fiscal year 26, which would be this month. So before the city can actually close on the construction loan, we have to show that we're able to meet that minimum requirement for bills fiscal year of July. So previously when we had the conversation, I said July of 26, it's actually July fiscal year 26, which means that it starts this July in order to close the loan. And then the effective date would be whenever we complete our 3 readings and the council places an effective rate. And I don't believe we have had any comments other than this evening's comment from Keith. But I don't believe that, have you received any? I have not received any emails or phone calls from public in response to the public hearing this evening.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. We'll vote. Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Holhouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
So just to clarify on just the rate increase will be effective after we've approved all of the readings. We're not going to retro.
Correct. It's after the third reading is complete. And I noticed on the agenda, I accidentally have a typo where it says ordinance 921, it's actually ordinance 922. So that's the typo on my part.
Oh.
Just on the agenda where it says 921, it should say 922.
I'll motion to approve the first reading of ordinance change to ordinance number 922.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the ordinance 922, chapter 92 of the water rates. We'll vote. Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Holhouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Staff reports, the only thing we have verbal is from Doug Labs, the building inspector. Did you have something verbal you wanted to share at the meeting like that?
No, I was just going to say, at the time it was verbal because he was going to discuss something later that's actually been added to the agenda, which was the permit for moving. So unless you have something in your regular report that you wanted to add, it's been added to. I do have an update that came in for the parks that's related to resolution 2025-134. And I would like to actually just read it, if that's okay. So we have a nonprofit in Urbana that's named Founding Fathers that would like to finance an update to the Urbana Crossing Park. This has actually been in the works it started with the previous Parks Board, with a group that we looked at getting, it's called a sport court. And so I've been working with a local group here in town. They would like to update the basketball court with Court for Sports, which basically is a sport court that comes in and it has I think it's like a rubber seal on it. And it has the possibility to add a logo. This would be to update, not the concrete, because the concrete is in good condition, but it will add a pickleball court and a shuffleball court, shuffleball court. It will also supply equipment not only for basketball, but pickleball and shuffleboard. Those items will be available for kids and families to check out through the library. They would also then like to hand off to the city as soon as the project is complete with a dedication ceremony that would be for the Bob Guido Sports Complex logo. I do not have a picture yet, but if you guys know, a sport court is very similar to like at some of the newer park areas, like at a school that have like a rubber court, things like that. And several people will know, with it being a dedication ceremony for Bob Guido, that there were funds years ago that were, I think, fundraised here in the city of Urbana. And they would like to put dollars toward the Bob Guido Sport Court and use their logo, and we would have a dedication ceremony upon completion. So I think it's an excellent project. that this group is willing to follow through and provide one more thing to the park improvements over at Central Crossing Park, and I think it's a great idea.
Very good. Old business. Consider
We
resolution.
have any more staff reports, Carrie's here.
Oh, yeah, Carrie, did you have a staff report or were you here for Urbana Days, I think?
I can, both.
Yeah, is that okay? Can she do both?
Right,
In June, we had 868 book checkouts, so that's a triple our usual. We had 32 activities, over 2,000 people through the door in June. Most of our programs maxed our occupancy. We have 316 registered for the summer reading program. Benton County Sheriff's Department came in, did a safety talk with kids on bikes, scooters, so they knew how to share the road. We gave away free bicycle helmets that were donated to us from Unity Point. Lions Kids Site did a screening. Tanager Place Expressive Outreach Programming began. They're going to start coming every month now. And we've had Blank Park Zoo, we had a planetarium come. KCRG came this week and did a weather talk. That's about it. We're actually going to finish our summer reading program this week. And there's going to be Friends of the Library Glow Run during Urbana Days as well.
What's the date on that one? Date and time for the glow run?
The Glow Run, it's the 25th, July 25th, Friday night. And registration is at 7 o'clock. The 1 mile walk and kids fun runs at 7:30, and at 8 o'clock is the 5K.
7:30 is the walk and what?
It's the 1 mile walk and the kids fun run,
And then the 5K starts when?
8 o'clock.
And did the Friends of the Library do a social media post that can be shared by the city? We can do a share of that probably.
Yes, it's on our Facebook page.
Okay.
It might be on your board too.
Did you have any other upcoming events that I can put in the minutes?
Once we get through July, yes.
So for the next one then?
Right.
Okay.
Also, we talked a few months ago about parking at the library. It's been a concern. We did get some gravel because there was quite a big lip between the gravel portion and the pavement for the parking. So we're trying to right now implement some different signs, parking ideas for people, because we're getting a lot of people that are not using the library. It's using the library parking spaces to use the trail. I don't mind the park people because they don't have a place to park, but it's been a concern. So I did get Pink Asphalt to come out and measure so we can get some estimates on down the road, maybe getting that paved.
you don't have signs up there just specifically saying library parking only, do you?
I will this week.
Okay,
I've got stuff in, I just need to get it together. So we have a couple signs that just says, library patron parking only, that's just for the paved spots, Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
So I would like to get something that is on the south side that's facing the trail. That says, trail users parking something, I don't know, we're gonna have to talk to Lynn County to see if they will help you for that.
I know we did get, when we talked about the pollinator phase 1, that further phases in the pollinator grant, if we were to do something like that, part of a phase was considering parking along the trail on the opposite side, which I don't know if it was like a phase 3 or phase 4 idea, but on the opposite side where it's kind of like where that Urbana, those apartments are. So like on that side of the trail, the trail was seeing more traffic also, which we have that here as well. We should probably consider signs because we get people that park in the front parking here for the trail. And obviously there's plenty of parking space around the perimeter that we should probably redirect them to, but we do get a lot of traffic starting in the summer for the trail. So. Okay, then did you have something for the Urbana Days update for the Lions?
Not particularly, I guess we just need to get the approval to close the street.
Which you just got in the consent agenda. So that permit was brought in with signatures, so that was part of the consent agenda this evening. So July 25th and 26th is Urbana Days.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to the old business. Consider resolution 2025-132 to fix a date for public hearing and a proposal to enter into a water revenue loan disbursement agreement and borrow money thereunder in a principal amount not to exceed $2,376,000.
Okay, so. One second, I think I looked at it on this. Okay, so this was probably a little later email maybe that came from Dorsey Whitney, which is our bond counsel. Maybe, did that come in on Monday? I think I sent to council. So these came in, with the water rates. The recommendation that came from Maggie that we shared previously, I just want to reiterate. So we have two resolutions. So what our bond counsel, well, Spear Financial with Maggie has come up with is that if the city does 2.376 million in a water revenue SRF, which would be resolution 2025-132, to set the public hearing for that. Then we take the other portion, which would be 1.25, and we do a GO SRF that the city pays back. This allows us to keep our rates lower, which is 2025-133. So by taking in a $1.25 million GO SRF loan, the city only has to raise rates on the water revenue SRF loan, which is the 2.376, which is why we don't have to raise our rates to the 40% increase in the $17. So that's how we've been able to offset that. I do also, I know Councilmember Bendel gave some great suggestions on how we could possibly lower the rate more for residents, and I shared those with our with Maggie at Spear Financial. Although it is a great idea in theory, unfortunately, the city really cannot afford that, because if we increase on the SRF GO side, if we were to have an issue come up, a water main break or something with the water or sewer, this goes against our debt capacity, which would then allow us not to be able to take out a loan if we were to have another issue that came up at the same time. So at this time, she's recommending that we go with this solution. Now, over the next 20 years, as we have other debt that comes off, or we have other scenarios that happen, we could possibly maybe relook at this, I'm not sure, but This is the best case scenario for the city, fiscally, for the construction loan. So this would be to set the date for public hearing, which, as you can see on the agenda, we have to set a public hearing date for both of these since they're two separate loans. Did anybody have questions about the two resolutions before we move forward?
I would motion to set a public hearing for resolution 2025-132 for August 13th at 6:30 PM.
Second.
Been moved in second to, have it for the public hearing for August, what was the date?
13th.
13th at 6:30 PM. Go vote. Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson,
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse,
Yes.
and Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Item B, consider resolution 2025-133 to fix a date on public hearing for the proposal to enter into a general obligation water improvement loan disbursement agreement and borrow money thereunder in the principal amount not to exceed 1.25 million.
Make a motion to set a public hearing for resolution 2025-133 for August 13th at 6:30 PM.
I second.
Okay. Then move in second to have the public hearing for resolution 2025-133 on August 13th at 6:30. We'll vote. Councilperson Bendel,
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse,
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson,
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
New business, permit, moving a house permit on 101 North Street. And this is because of the weight of the house.
Yes, which I'm not sure if we've ever had this scenario. I'm not sure in Trent's 23 years that he's had it. I know you've been here before, but we have a home that is it's not a mobile home, and it's similar to a modular home that comes in fully built, on a fifth wheel basically. And they have all the state permissions and the state permits completed. However, there are some questions about the state route. So the property actually is up on Sunset next to Casey's, which would be
North.
10 North or just North?
Oh, 103.
103 North Street, up there. So this we haven't had before, but we went back to the ordinances, and the council can set a permit fee because we've never had this before. So in lieu of something like this happening, the city council can set a permit fee to charge for the home coming in, because they have all the proper insurance, everything that covers them up to 5 million. However, if something were to happen and because of the weight of this home coming in, there is obviously the potential that it could damage a street or a road. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to John, because the city had these questions that came in. So immediately Ryan and Doug, we kind of deferred to our city engineer to kind of help us through this, because we've not dealt with this before. And you kind of messaged back with her that you did have a concern that I would like maybe for you to share.
So first of all, as far as a permit fee goes, generally this is called a trip permit. Benton County does them, the DOT has a standard trip permit form.
Are you saying TRIP, TRIP?
TRIP. most of the counties are, there's very few cities that actually have a standard form. I think Independence might have one, but Center Point, Benton, you're right, they don't have, it's not in their sort of permit or policy to enforce this. But this would be considered a round trip because this is the destination. They're coming and they're leaving town, not just passing through. So the DOT and Benton County, Lynn County charge $70 for a round trip permit fee for something like this. And I have example forms here. If you want me to pass them out, both Benton counties and the DOTs, if you want to kind of piggyback on that. Now, as far as the load and the dimensions of this truck, it's going to be 100,000 pounds. And those are all seal coat streets up there. On a warm day, especially when that seal coat's soft, it's going to be at high risk for some damage, running, so on. The sunset will be fine. That'll hold up. As far as the route they're proposing, they're coming in through Benton, 150. They shouldn't have a problem getting across that roundabout. They'll just have to ramp up over the middle of it, you know. And then coming up Sunset, taking a right on Union down to Maple, and that's where the problems start. They want to go east on Maple, back up Jefferson, and then the lot sits there at the corner of Jefferson and North, just south of Casey's. The foundation's in the ground already, I noticed. And then they want to leave, I think, going back down north on Union. And I think north and I think it's like 13 foot wide right now is all. So, I don't think, obviously, they didn't look very closely at the size of these intersections. Obviously, there's stop sign, utility poles, fire hydrants, curb ramps, trees, private property. I ran some turning movements. It's a 105-foot long truck and trailer. Put that in perspective, like a standard, interstate rig, long haul, sleeper cab truck, 53-foot trailer is about 72 to 73 feet long from front to back, and that wouldn't even make some of those turns. So this is 105-foot long. So before I came, I actually spent some time, we had truck simulation software, we can model turns and everything with that size truck, and it's impossible unless they're gonna trespass on private property and the back wheels are gonna cut through front yards. And that doesn't even figure in removing stop signs temporarily, landscaping. So it's an issue, the route they're proposing, not gonna work. So their only feasible option is to get the okay from Casey's, because both Casey's driveways are wide enough. I simulated coming through Casey's, and there's already openings in the fence. I think the east opening that actually lines up with their destination, they have to pull a couple of wood posts out. I think there's a couple of boulders sitting on the ground there. Further west, there's that row of boulders. They could make it in that way and then back straight up across Cape. Probably have to back up Sunset and down Dollar General driveway and then come back westbound. So I emailed a lady with the state. Again, this is through the Iowa prison industry, so it's through the state. I mailed her back last night and told her my concerns and recommended she reach out to Casey's and get their okay. So, that kind of creates some gray area because Casey's obviously a private corporation. But if they got the insurance, Casey's might make them fill out their own little trip permit deal. So I relayed my concerns back to her. I didn't get a response today. I think the original email from June just said that it was sometime in July they were planning on delivering it. So, I don't know. They're coming from Newton, and they gave us their whole route, and most of it's along obviously state highways and stuff.
Is this your sample?
Yeah, so the top one in Benton County is they kind of copied DOT, and this is just standard DOT. The one pinch point they do have is down in Benton, and I think Dave's the city engineer down there. I'm gonna give him a call and see if he even, if they read what they were doing with them. And I just looked at that, and I don't think they're gonna make it too funky, but the route they're proposing, so, yeah, I guess we'll wait and see if we get a response back. And if you guys are okay, if you want me to send, obviously we slightly modified it, have the city engineer's name on there. And have them pay the $70 or some other amount, you know, that helps you recoup a little bit of your cost with Trent, Jennifer, and I, you know, dealing with this or reviewing it, permit fee, so.
Now, will the property owners adjacent to that, will they be notified in case, you know, it's an alternative?
I would assume, I mean, if they come through Casey's, I don't think they'll have to notify anybody except Casey's. Cause that's just right down there, pull up and back out. Like I said, if they decide to come the route, I mean, it's gonna be, it ain't gonna work. I mean, it's up to them. And I told them, the city has no plans to make any accommodations for you. We're not gonna temporarily widen these intersections out. It's just to make them wide enough, you're getting into private property, and we're talking temporary easement acquisition. I don't think we wanna go there, just for some temporary widening. Trent would be pulling stop signs out. You know, I think, other than stop signs, there's already utility poles and everything else in the way. It's just not feasible. So I really think that when they're done, we're just gonna have to talk to Casey's. So, that's where we left it, and we'll see what they say back. Otherwise, they're kind of on their own. I don't think the city needs to devote any resources to, you know, making a special account, doing it above and beyond, to get them to fit in there. Because it's not a public project, I mean, it's private people, so. Anyway.
Okay, thank you.
I've reached out to them, try to get more information from them, and to no avail, so. I did research some house moving companies, they do have the rear steer
Okay.
on those dollies, but like you said,
I don't.
the
think
radius,
there's-
the turns, not gonna happen,
Yeah,
not gonna happen.
so, I think, yeah, they just need to talk to Casey and if they're okay.
Yeah.
It'll definitely work if they go through Casey's,
Right.
so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, do we need to act on some permit then?
What I can do is, maybe if you guys want to review those and have some time and then provide some feedback in regard to what you'd like to see on the permit, I'll put something together for the August 13th meeting. If for some reason they think that they're going to have a go-ahead before then, I'll let the council know if we have to call like a special meeting. Otherwise, I think like John said, I don't think that we have to make any special accommodations at this time. Maybe just trying to recoup the permit fee similar to the Iowa DOT or what Benton County uses would be my only suggestion. Like I said, these guys have both reached out to other neighboring towns that really haven't had this type of a situation. You can let me know, did you say $70 was your,
$70 would be round trip,
70?
which they would be round trip. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're
'cause
turn around leaving.
That seems
Like not enough?
right.
That's
We
what I
just
thought.
talked- I mean, we just talked about roofs for 100 and we're talking about, I mean, this is way larger with the potential of damaging our roads. 70 does not feel like enough. And why has this not come up? We've had other houses being moved in on semis before.
But yeah,
I think because this is not a modular, so it doesn't come in pieces. It comes in at a one swing, so the whole thing comes in at this, what did you say, 100,000 pounds?
100,000 pounds, 105 foot.
Yeah, and they have done this in Vinton. I think, Ryan, you were in on that meeting. Did they say they have 4 of these over in Vinton now? 7, okay. So they're contracted over in Newton, I believe, and it's like through the Iowa prison industry, but it comes fully electrical, certified by the state. It's a whole state thing, but it's not state funded in term, I mean, it's a private person that is doing this. Buying the house and then I believe probably selling the house is what it sounds like. So this particular one, I too believe $70 is not enough for a permit, especially just considering the amount of resources that we've already used between the city engineer, Trent, myself, Ryan, and Doug, trying to figure out this whole thing.
my understanding too, if they do damage, they're insured though, correct? Like the streets.
Correct.
Yes.
So I think everybody just goes with this 35 to 70 because that's what the DOT does. So I don't think anybody's ventured out and set their own. They just said, oh, the DOT uses 35 and 70, that's what we'll do. But obviously, if you want to go more, I can relight it. So
I mean, as long as they're not using the streets, because obviously those streets are very
it's
too tight.
Yeah.
I mean, a pickup and a boater.
Yeah. Yeah. So
When do they think they're gonna be?
they just said sometime in July. I don't know.
Which isn't gonna happen.
They said that within the next month.
Yeah. Which, like Doug said, these people do, I mean, they do not get back in a timely fashion. It took, how long did it take, Ryan, before we even asked Doug? And it was almost like, it was like 2 weeks. We couldn't get him to return our call. So, I mean, they must not be in that big of a hurry because they don't return the city's call and this is where it's actually coming, so.
Obviously, they reached out to the guy that put the foundation in and the water and sewer and electrical. So I mean, there's some coordination, just not with us.
So I just wanna make sure I understand, so the homeowner doesn't get the trip app permit, it's the place in Newton.
Yep.
The hauling company.
Well, is it the hauling company?
No,
I don't think so. I think it's the
it's-
person that now
yeah.
owns the house who is going to turn around, like basically put it up, I think, as a spec home and then try and sell it. That person, I think, is the one that gets charged the,
I think it goes through the Iowa Prison Industries,
Yeah.
the state, because their insurance about this, since it's the state, they're self-insured. So, that, they send that whole letter about that.
Yeah. so maybe it does go through the
So
state.
they probably, I'm sure they
Pass it down.
pass that cost down
Right.
eventually, but yeah, it's fronted by the state. So,
So we have to do an ordinance on this if we're gonna start a permit fee for this?
So I don't think we need to touch the ordinance because the ordinance is very vague and says that it's at the council's discretion when this comes in. So I don't think we should change the ordinance to pigeonhole ourselves. I think that we just do possibly a resolution with this permit, since this is kind of a one-time thing, maybe do a resolution, and not change the ordinance. So the ordinance gives the council the freedom to say, if something comes into the city that is an overweight type issue like what we have now, it puts it back on the council to say, you can charge a special permit and a fee and to approve them to come in.
We can kind of keep it as a case by case.
I think so, and I would recommend doing that, because if we change the ordinance, then we go through, all 3 readings to change the ordinance, and that could possibly pigeonhole us down the road,
So if we do a resolution on this, so this would be for next month, and they could possibly have that house in here by then.
Well, I don't think that they can move on moving the property until the city signs off on it, which would be this, correct?
yeah,
So I would say that we put together a resolution with one of these
We haven't
fees.
approved the resolution, so they technically don't have to. What sign off do they need from us? If we don't have this resolved by the time they
They
review?
won't, right?
They won't, is my understanding. They can't come into the city until we give them permission, which would mean we need to have a resolution if we're going to do it, right?
We haven't stated it in ordinance.
That it's to the council's discretion to do a fee permit and give the permission for it to be placed. Ryan, can you grab that for me? Actually, will you make 7 copies of that section that we looked at, Ryan? That's probably best.
The property owner may mention to me that he was wanting to do 4 more. Where, I have no idea, but
4 more here in Urbana.
They originally wanted to do 2 up there.
Right.
But the city has water main up through, there's technically a right of way, or there's no street that runs up between Jefferson and Snake Street West.
It'd be Jefferson between Birch and North.
Yeah, so
So is the option going to be there anymore for them to go through? If Casey's allowed that, would the option still be there based on where they're putting it?
would they?
Like if they're going anywhere in that block, down farther, down the road, and they have to make turns, they potentially couldn't.
I don't think it's gonna fit, they're gonna have issues,
Yeah.
major issues.
And that's why I think if we were to do a resolution and if Casey's is giving permission, it's on a case by case basis, I think like what Randy said, where it's, the resolution would specifically state, this is to only move for this
Address.
specific address at this location, at this fee, with this particular permit. And then if others come in, I think that it gets analyzed through the council just like this, because they think in Newton or Des Moines that they can look up on Google Earth and decide, hey, this is a great route. And then we sit here and we talk to the city engineer, public works superintendent, and we've got an issue that it actually wouldn't fit. So my recommendation would be, if we do this, it's a resolution based on a case by case.
What's the width of this house?
24 feet.
24? And then just roll that off.
So they literally have to position themselves beside the foundation, 30 inches of concrete exposed, so that's why you see what you see when you drive up there. And they actually put beams across the foundation, and it just pushes off that trailer, and then they jack it up, pull the beams up, set it back on the plate.
I mean, another option is if they were bringing it in pieces with a smaller road. Or maybe we can make those turns, but like I said, even with a standard interstate rig, that truck doesn't even make those turns without cut the corners, causing issues.
It'd be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Definitely video it.
So we would be looking at chapter 66, load and weight restrictions, and I believe it's 66.02, permits for excess size and weight.
So you want to set a date for a
I think we add a resolution to August 13th.
And then if for some reason I get something before then, that they have some set move or whatever, do we call a special council meeting to approve this resolution, or we just, or I put together the sample resolution and we reach back out and say, the council has a resolution set for August 13th meeting, and it doesn't happen until after August 13th. I think that's probably a good recommendation, and it gives you guys enough time to, well, us to put this together, since we've not done it before. The other thing would be if somebody wants to put something out there in regards to a permit fee amount that can also go into the resolution.
And to add to that, we could also add, because obviously you're worried about weight and restrictions, we could go with 66.03 with those roads, put a limit on weight, and really can't touch them.
So changing the ordinance, you're saying?
No,
Or you mean putting it in the resolution?
Because we already have it right here, the 66.03, the limits on certain streets. So if they're chip sealed, they wouldn't sustain that weight, so we could. Then they couldn't necessarily touch those roads.
Do we have anything like that in town now?
Embargo, like a weight embargo on any
A
roads?
low limit sign anywhere?
Not that I'm aware of.
Probably need a resolution. You couldn't just go slap one up on
No,
the street.
it required you guys to.
So that would
pass
also be, I
resolution.
think, would that fall under the 66.01 temporary embargo? And say that the roads, whichever
No,
ones
I
that,
was 6603, like, under that ordinance, you could probably pass a resolution to say all chip seal roads have a max weight limit of whatever.
okay.
Then we're more covered in.
I guess it could fall in the first one too. We'll see.
Did someone make a motion or we going?
The other thing that I might suggest,
Setting.
sorry, Gary, not to interrupt, but the other thing that I might suggest, is maybe I reach out to our city insurance. I know that that's more, so basically saying like, or I don't know, maybe it would be the attorney, but something that would cover us that would be more than just the resolution in terms of, or would all of that fall under their $5 million coverage? So if they were to come through here and they damage X, Y, Z, and our city engineer or our director comes in and says, okay, we have this damage, and this damage.
So, one of those permit forms had some provisions or whatever on there, so it would be a, I didn't read through those, but, you know, I think from between the permit and their insurance, you know, we're already covered now. If they somehow move forward with this, which again, Casey's is gonna be the one that, once you get off Sunset, that, we'll have to deal with some of that, but, you know, Trent and I can go up, take before and after pictures.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm wondering, like, if we go up there and I understand, like, previously, if they were going to go down Sunset and you're recommending that they just go on Sunset a little bit, like, do we do, for insurance purposes, like, do we take before pictures of exactly where they're
Yeah.
going to be on city property so that in the event something does happen, we know that we're covered with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would assume we're asking them to get it in writing from Casey's.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see something in writing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're dealing with, it's through the state of Iowa, so, you know,
Yeah.
I would hope they would, do something formal with Casey, so. you know, if they come back between now and the next council meeting and say, we got the okay for Casey's, do we still wanna follow through with this at the August council meeting? Just to cover a little bit of, you know, left across Iowa and down Jefferson, right? A little bit. And drive the truck off into the front lawn. You know, because I think Sunset and the roundabout, that'll hold up, that's fine. I'm not worried about that. It's just, we'll have a little bit of stretch there where they will have to maneuver across. So regardless if they get the okay from Casey before, then we still want to proceed and say, no, we still got to do this, the August council meeting, so pending that outcome.
I think that's fair. I think we just table put it on for the next agenda, meeting agenda resolution to approve an application. I personally like the DOT one better. As far as fee amount, I would hate to just pull a number out of the air. Are any other local communities, do they have similar besides these?
I mean, you mentioned Independence, but I don't
Independence has
know.
one, but it's nothing like that. It's a very short, brief deal. I didn't look up what they charged. Benton County, Lynn County, Cedar Rapids, they all are essentially the same as the DOTs. With the $35 for the signal or the 70 for the round trip. So, I mean, if it helps, I could come up with my time that I've spent on it so far with Jennifer Noel and even Trent, Jennifer's time, Ryan's time. We can kind of base it on the time we've used.
We also have our building inspector
Yeah.
that's putting time on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would help. I think, I'm hoping that, you know, if this is a little bit longer than if we formulate a little bit more of a process, that it won't take as long, but I just, $70 just doesn't seem like quite enough. But I also don't want to hold up their process either.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't want to call tomorrow and say we're coming next week and then, you know.
Oh, we can't, we gotta wait till August 13th.
Right, I would feel right, because I say we plan for the next month, and if something comes up in the meantime, we can have a special meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now we'll table item A then. Move on to item B, property request at 400 Velva Street.
Property down there is a good old maintenance garage that I purchased from the city. I have my trailer down there that's parked technically on this portion of lot number 2, which belongs to the library. And there's an easement that goes up to the trailer house up here behind.
Jacobson.
Yeah. And that easement is 15-foot easement, but the line of the park, the city park, where it comes down, it connects right at the corner of the shed. And that piece of grass that's inside that easement is something I'd be interested in getting, if the city council is willing to sell. So I would either purchase it, or if they want to give me an easement on it or whatever, but my trailer has been parked on that lot. Previously, when I was on the council, I asked the council about that, and they never really got a definite statement one way or the other, so I've been using that. But I put some rock down there to park my trailer on, and the trailer's been there quite some time. I don't know who made a complaint or who said anything about it. Did you ever find out, Jennifer?
Yeah, we know who, obviously, because it came through the office.
Yeah,
And
who did
it came from a patron from the library as well as a library member.
Okay, so
The insurance,
That's because of they said specifically because of the increased traffic with the new playground
yeah, the kids go to the
and
library.
the kids coming back and forth, that there is potential risk of kids climbing on that because it is in very close proximity to the library in the park
Right.
with the trailer there.
Yeah.
That's why the nuisance abatement letter was sent.
And so my insurance on that trailer covers if I go to Casey's or Walmart, wherever I go, the insurance is on the trailer. So, and we're talking with Gary on the phone, the real problem was that I'm using property that's not mine. And according to the city ordinance, I gotta move the trailer off. So I have moved the trailer. There's a fire ring down there laying on the ground. I haven't moved that fire ring yet, but I'm not done burning things in that fire ring either, so. So my question to the council then becomes, are they interested in selling that section of lot where the grass is on the inside of that easement that goes to that trailer house?
What's the dimension on that?
It looks like it is about 86 feet in length, aligned with the park boundary. So on the back side of the Crossings Park, it's 86 feet to the corner of my building. And then the inside is sectioned off around that curve. So it's various sections of footage, but it looks like a total might be, yeah, I can't give it to you here. 'Cause
I don't know exactly, but I did highlight it on the maps that I provided. And I think that I printed those.
If the council doesn't want to do anything with that property, they don't want to sell it or do anything with that, I'm okay with that. I'd like to have the property parking trailer on that, but if they don't want to do anything with it, then the only thing I ask is that I get to reclaim the rock that I've already put down there. And then I can keep my trailer on my lot, it's just that it's kind of inconvenient for me.
So I guess I would have to look this up again, but the city can sell property, but there is a different process for that. So, although Armin's sharing that he would like to own it, I believe it has to go up to anyone that can purchase the property if it's property.
Yeah,
Now, if it's equipment or if it's things like that, the city has a very different process that you can sell off equipment, you can sell off vehicles, you can do those things. But with physical property, there's a different process that it would go up for sale and that then it would be available to anyone.
right, and I'm willing to competitively bid on that property, so I'm not, that isn't a concern of mine yet, right? I'm not trying to do this behind anybody's back.
Oh, sorry, that wasn't,
No,
I wasn't saying that at
I just
all.
stated.
I'm just saying that the council knows that there's a
Gotcha.
different process for selling of equipment as there is for selling of physical property.
And I don't know, without asking Fran, I don't know if that easement that goes through that lot has been a little bit of a pain for the city. Rocking it, that kind of thing.
Obviously, we haven't been there for a few years, but when we were there were some issues, but they were more driven by the personality of the people that was using the easement than probably the easement itself.
So if the easement would go with that property, I would be willing to buy that easement. I would offer that to the city if they would consider. So, there's a lot of different things there. And if they don't want to do anything at all, I just need them to tell me so that I can get off of your property.
Well, my opinion, the way things are going down there with the park, additions to the sports court, potentially the library, giving up space is not an ideal situation. That easement is strange, but I feel like there's an opportunity for parking somehow, some way in that space, maybe. I haven't looked into it, but I personally don't think giving that up to the advantage of the city.
My intent though, Jeff, is to park that trailer on that property. So I'm not doing this year, probably not next year, but I would rock that area. That whole area would be rocked. So if they came down and parked on that, as long as they're not hitting on my trailer and that kind of thing, I'm okay with that.
What is the situation on that easement, do you know? Is it, how long it is, what the legalities of it is?
That was basically a prescribed easement because people started using it. That easement was never a formal easement until that plat was recorded. The property owners back there had just began to use that, and as such, so much time expired. John, you better explain what a prescribed easement is.
Prescriptive
Or
easement.
prescriptive, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a gray area, but basically, I think it's like a 10-year deal if somebody uses a strip of land or whatever, for access or utilities or so on. And they do so for 10+ years, then it becomes a prescriptive easement. If it's not officially recorded anywhere or platted anywhere, until then, I guess I haven't seen that plat, but it looks like it has our name on it, so I don't remember that was done before my time. So they must have, since it was prescriptive at the time that plat was done, formalized it. Yes, so.
That is what happened when the parcels were split to be sold. The library took the other building and the other lot was sold. As there was a prescriptive easement there, the attorney, the engineer at the time decided it was time to formally record the easement since there was no one doing it.
Paul Buckley on the project, don't know that yet, Trent, you don't.
Don't know the answer to that.
I don't either.
It's not luckily, it's not, I looked at it, because I was like, why can't they go make the easement that way, but it's not that person, I don't know, I can't remember the name. It's not that person.
It is an odd shape, but I mean, based on what we're seeing and hearing, I'm right now in the same position as Jeff. I feel like I hear what you're saying, Armin, and if it was in a place where it wasn't necessarily being so busy and used and there wasn't so much going on, I would be in favor of going down the route of selling the property, but right now, I don't know if we're in a position to do that.
I know when I was on the council, we had the abatement notices on vehicles, things like that, and I did help by hauling these vehicles. I hauled only 6 vehicles out of town, took them to the junkyards and brought the checks for those vehicles back to the owners, gave that to them, charged them nothing for hauling of them. So I do use the trailer. As a matter of fact, storm cleanup now, I just use it there too. So I do have a need for the trailer. I guess I'm using the trailer. I don't get rid of my trailer, but I need parking spot down there to make access in front of my building easier is what I'm after.
I just want to restate too that the reason that you received the nuisance abatement letter that came from the office is because there was a concern with the safety of the trailer being there with the traffic of the kids. But that doesn't sound like you're interested in removing the trailer when you purchase this. You actually still want to keep the trailer there
I do.
and you want to have that.
I do. In terms of kids crawling on things, doing things like that, I got a ladder tied to the rain gutter. And so kids can crawl that ladder, you know, if they so desire, I guess. I'm not there to stop them. But there again, I've got insurance on things, so if I fall off that ladder and break my neck, I guess I get insurance claim.
So is the council gonna make a recommendation then to vote or just?
Well, I mean, we just have a request from Armin. Personally, I don't have any interest in moving forward at this time. I don't. I know that, Carrie was talking about the parking lot. it's just not great down there right now because there is a lot of traffic, which is a good thing with the park and the trail and the library. So it's kind of like, there's just not a lot of options for people, and the little cement slab we do have is fought after because otherwise it's muddy down there because the drainage isn't great. So I would like us to make sure that before we took any of that type of action, we had everything else kind of looked at, as far as parking is concerned. Maybe, golf carts are a big thing right now, and I see a lot, sometimes I hear about people driving golf carts through the park, which technically isn't allowed. Maybe that becomes a golf cart station. I don't know. I just don't think, at least I'm not in a position for, I don't have an interest in that, exploring that right this meeting. That's my take. So, Randy, Josh, I haven't heard if you guys have an opinion, but
Can you just park it north and south, like up this way towards me?
I've got it there now, Josh, it's
I
in
can't remember
between
if
the
it's-
overhead doors, so, or not overhead, but one's a sliding door. But I'm in between the doors with it now, and it goes down towards which is going downhill, but it's going down towards the street there. And like I say, it's not life and death for me. If you guys don't want me on there, don't want the trailer on there, whatever, I can move it over my lot, which I've already done, but, we're cleaning up the rock. I'd like to have that rock in my driveway than laying on the ground over there, which that ground obviously is gonna need to be reseeded, which I'll take care of.
I just don't know, man. I mean, you've already got gravel down there, so I mean. And then, I mean, if you're not in and out of the trailer all the time, you're only using it when you absolutely need it. I don't know, it's kind of a 50-50, I mean.
Yep, that's why.
If you were to purchase it from us, but you're willing to put gravel down and allow people to use it, we also benefit from that too.
Right.
And we could indicate, like you were saying, we could put a sign up, respect our owners' property, but we could park golf carts over there and stuff like that, so.
Yep, and flip either way.
So, I mean, it's a small portion. So I don't know, I mean, we can definitely revisit it, if you guys were interested in that, we do some more discussion.
And if I can add something too, I mean, I'm not saying I recommend either way, but if you were to move forward to grant him something, I lean more towards just granting him a parking easement. And then, you could even make that contingent on just him. It doesn't ride with the product. If he ever sells, it goes away. Do an easement agreement with them. He'd still have to pay for the parking easement, but it wouldn't be a full, acquisition. If you split that, it'd be some surveying work. You'd have to do a plat survey and split that little piece off and then sell it. Whereas we deal with that, actually dealing with right now, different town, granting parking easement on a city-owned outlot, similar to this situation. So if you were to move forward, I would lean towards granting parking easement versus plat survey or even subdivision plat, I don't know, and then selling the piece. And then potentially just putting a limit on it, like a term in the easement agreement or something.
Well, and also in light of that, the trailer when I had parked down there was parked along the easement of that driveway. And that ground down there was more level, so the trailer sat flat. If we did maybe 10 foot wide on the edge of my property that goes from the library corner up to the corner of my building. And so I would be parking the trailer this way, north and south, rather than east and west. Require a lot less ground, but it's you guys are in charge of it, so obviously I can't use it, or shouldn't be using it. I guess I kind of got the feeling from the council when I asked them before, I was under the impression that it was okay to do that, but that was my error. I made our own different here.
I mean, I'm not opposed to exploring a parking easement or trying to help find a solution, for you. I don't necessarily want to sell the entire chunk or right now any of it, but exploring a piece of it,
But like he was saying with the parking easement, it's not really,
the sale.
yeah, and then
It's
if,
still on it.
yeah, if he was to ever sell the property, that parking easement, or if he vacates, that easement is.
Yeah.
So thank you for that information.
That would be cleaner in my opinion.
Yeah, even the sale of my property, if that was to be sold, it would terminate the end of that easement.
So, yeah, you could put anything you want in the easement agreement. Or give you the right to use it, you have to maintain it.
Obviously, I'm using the trailer as somewhat of assistance to the city themselves for getting rid of junk vehicles or whatever, but, I don't want to get rid of the trailer. I think the trailer, it's kind of a problem having, I guess. But it is insured, so if something happens, my insurance company will take care of it. So if you guys want to talk it over and get back to me, or let me know.
Yeah, I'd like to table this for now,
Okay,
would be my recommendation. In the interim, I would hate for you to go through all the work to move any of the rock.
which I won't do until we figure out what we're gonna do here, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as parking of the trailer in the interim, if we could find a mutually agreed upon decision. I mean, I don't know that I love where, like, if it's parked where it's in this picture, I can understand how that could be a challenge, but if we could come up to a solution where it's like, right here.
Parked on the west side.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what he was saying. He could do it north-south and then it would.
Narrow that up quite a bit.
right, so it's more closely on, like, on your property, but
Right.
still might be a little bit onto ours, but
Yeah.
like, I'm not opposed to that. I think I understand the safety piece, but we can't control all of that.
Yeah.
So,
Initially,
I would love to see that, but that would be like, they come on my property and jump off my deck.
Yeah, initially I've been going and maintaining that, but, I guess it's kind of a trade-off, I guess. I get to use the property, I'm mowing, I don't the city mow it.
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. We'll just wait until you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have a table or a motion to table this by Councilmember Basky.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if they would kind of mark that out, so everybody can kind of drive down there and take a look at that, whether you spray paint something or put a stake in or whatever.
I've got some caution tape here. Put some small stakes down there and take it off so you can actually see what I'm looking for.
That would help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, then motion second to table item C. We'll vote. Councilperson Johnson?
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel?
Yeah.
Councilperson Alphonse?
Yes.
And Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Item C, memo recommendation to review and increase bulk water rates.
Okay, so I sent a memo for a recommendation to review and increase bulk water rates. So I've only been here 2 summers and we typically get bulk water requests. Oftentimes it comes from construction Iowa DOT projects that come in from the interstate or other projects to do a fill, which our public works department has the discretion to do a fill down at the public works plant. I wanted us to take a look at this because according to our ordinance, which I believe is the 9203 that I sent to you, that is specific only to bulk water, which the only bulk water that the city sells is to Iowa DOT projects or construction, things like that. We do not fill pools, we do not do, there are some local businesses that have fill tanks that we will sell bulk water to. So this is specifically just toward the bulk water. My recommendation, the current bulk water and the attached ordinance 9203, which is rates outside the city, shows that Urbana's current rate is actually lower than the minimum in our ordinance. So the minimum in our ordinance says that we should be able to cover the highest wage of overtime for an employee, because typically these things come in after hours. And we do not cover that. So I believe the current administrative fee for bulk water is $25, and the minimum for the ordinance right now is written at $55.58, I believe. My recommendation would be that there is I think I just said that. Did I say that backwards?
Currently at 55.58.
Yeah, so I would recommend that the administrative fee go from $25 to $50 per 1,000 gallons. And the recommendation go to $62.50 per 1,000 gallons to reflect a 25% increase that is the same at which our residents have received since October, which was the 20% increase in October and the current 5%. So increasing this for commercial businesses, because as you know, we don't have a lot of these opportunities, but I believe updating this ordinance for bulk water takes into consideration the changes, the wages to cover the minimum administrative fee, but also a 25% increase that is the same that residents have incurred since October. And I will provided resolution 2025-132 and also a copy of the water ordinance. And again, as it's written in there, it is a courtesy. The city does not have to provide these, but we do that. I think we've had, aside from a local business that buys bulk water, did we have 2 or 3 different that came in from the Iowa DOT, I think, that we invoiced?
Most of the bulk water sales are contractors that are working on bid projects. These aren't residents buying bulk water, so this is not something the city should want to be doing it marginally, on whether they're making money off bulk water, especially if people are, contractors buying bulk water cheaper than what your residents are at a minimum bill. Bulk water, if we're gonna sell it, should be sold at a rate that is offsetting the cost for the customers, because most of the water is going outside the community.
So Jennifer, this says 55.58, funding resolution 56, are we talking?
So currently, that rate would be, the 55.58 is Trent's current wage for overtime if he were having to have to come in. So the minimum that we would have to have it at is the 55.58. My recommendation, however, is to say it should go to 62.50 because we should increase it for the 25%, which is what the residents received as an increase.
No, we're talking about the admin. It's just a couple pennies off from the front page to the back page. 42 cents or something.
Oh, the 56, I rounded up, thank you.
Okay. No,
So I took the 55.58 and I rounded it up to $56. Thank you for that, sorry, I didn't understand what you were saying.
I'm gonna bet that this is very similar to the storm sewer stuff that, for those of you that were on the council and that got reevaluated, I don't know, the bulk water, we sell a lot of it, we deal with a lot, but I don't know that anybody has been paying attention to the bulk water rates here until we started evaluating the rest of the rates. Again, because we're not like contractor work.
The Oh, go ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2025-132.
I second.
Been moved and second to approve resolution 2025-132. We'll vote. Councilperson Baskin.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Holbach.
Yes.
Item D, employee benefits, non-bargaining employees. Consider resolution 2025-133.
Either Russ or
Yep, nope, you're good. Thank you.
You want to leave these here?
Yeah, just leave them there, I'll grab them. Thank you. Okay, so tonight for the work session, obviously the employee handbook is included in here. One of the things when the conversation started with the employee handbook, which I was hired November of 2023, and there was not an employee handbook. And so there were certain things in there that I did bring to question since then and before I was hired that number one, I had an issue with initially signing the contract, which I shared some of those things with the consultant because the contract referenced an employee handbook and there was not an employee handbook. It also referenced that I would have full family benefits and however, I never received like official paperwork on what the benefits are. And it's a little different for the city of Urbana because prior, I don't actually even know when this started, but prior to that, we had contracts that were set up with the Teen Care in Central States, which is the agreement that we have for health insurance we have a contract that is for the full benefits for the employees who are union and bargaining. And then there was a signed off contract for non-bargaining that would allow our non-bargaining employees to also receive insurance through that same company. So at the time that this was done, there would have been probably 3 union members and 2 full-time employees that would have been considered non-bargaining, which would have been the city clerk at the time, as well as the police chief at the time, that both were offered the full benefits. And given their family situation, both took the full benefits. Since then, the contract for both, when Ryan came on and Ryan was hired, I expressed this to the mayor as well as to the city attorney in terms of how this was set up because both contracts had expired. So like the contract that is through Teen Care that's for non-bargaining, for us to sign off, it was basically, I believe it was either all in or all out for the non-bargaining employees. So when I came on and was offered the full healthcare benefits, I shared the concern that I was not in a situation that needed full-time benefits. I get my healthcare benefits through my husband. And the other employee at the time was a part-time employee and was not offered full-time healthcare benefits. So it really at the time really impacted me. My concern that I shared with the consultant as well as with council members and mayor was simply that healthcare benefits is a benefit that is offered to all employees. And just because one employee doesn't need the benefit, I don't believe that an employee should not receive a benefit in lieu of that. So for example, in the memo, I shared that each employee that receives healthcare, which we've talked about this in budget season, full-time healthcare for a full-time employee in the city of Urbana is $22,000. So 87% of the $22,000 is paid for by the city and 13% is paid by the employee, which is a great benefit that our employees receive. So I am proposing that the council consider a stipend in the amount of, my proposal is $12,500 per year or approximately $1,041.67 per month for those full-time employees who choose to waive the city health insurance plan. This would represent meaningful benefit for all employees while also resulting in cost savings to the city compared to the full cost of providing healthcare coverage. Such a policy would support fairness, flexibility, and recognizing that not all employees require the same benefits. So basically at this time, Ryan was hired in April, and for us to renew a contract, and I feel that this should be based on an annual basis, just like another agency or another business would be, that's on an annual renewal basis for people who are not involved in the bargaining. Number one, I'm not sure how all of that was set up, but I find it a little strange that a bargaining unit dictates what a non-bargaining participants would do with healthcare. I've not come into that in my career yet, but maybe it happens in other places. So that's basically what I am offering. So Ryan's been offered the healthcare benefits, but it's been a bit of an issue trying to even get information to him on what the healthcare benefit package is. So I've been working on that consistently, and in the meantime, found out that this actual contract that we have with Team Care expired. And I believe because it expired, we should, as a council, look, not we, but you should, as a council, look at this closely, because if we have to make a decision for healthcare, it's an all in or all out at this time. Meaning that if Ryan and I would have to either both go in and take the healthcare, which would be approximately $44,000 cost to the city, or we feel that if we do not take healthcare coverage, because as I said previously, the same benefits are not required for all employees. So if I have a situation that I have my own, or if our deputy clerk has his own, then we should not have to give up our full benefit, and I believe there should be a stipend. So, which still, by providing a stipend, still provides the city with cost savings. I did put something out in our ClerkNet, which just shoots out an email to any clerks that happen to see it on that day. Which basically put out the question of, are there other cities in Iowa that would be willing to share what insurance coverage looks like for full-time employees? What do other people offer stipends? And honestly, it was all over the place for the ones that did respond. So I did just put a couple examples in the memo. So for the city, full family health is $421.20, which annually is almost $22,000. The employee pays bi-weekly 13% of that, and the city pays the 87% of the $21,902. And they're also offered short-term disability as well as life insurance benefits. Right now, Ryan and I do not have any of these benefits. So I included a couple of the cities that did respond, which were different all over. One of the cities, the employee opt out for family health insurance. Their total cost for the family is $19,935.88. An employee that opts out receives a $1,000 stipend per month to offset the costs. There's another local city administrator who has a very unique situation in that he is somewhat retired, I think, and must have been brought back into municipality. He's offered a stipend in lieu of a single policy, which obviously he only needs a single policy, said, which is approximately $7,000 plus the IPERS contribution that the city would make goes directly into his 401b. There are two other cities that employee offered benefits for health insurance opt-out is around $300 per month. And as you guys know, health insurance, the cost of health insurance also depends on the size of the group that you have. And the city of Urbana right now has 5 employees. So some of these cities are bigger, some of them are not bigger. Another city offers an insurance opt-out that's $1,000 annually just for a healthcare allowance, plus a salary and hourly wage increase for those employees of $10,000 that they're given if they opt out of the healthcare. So basically, I wanted to bring this back up because we didn't address it my first year here because we've still been working on an employee handbook. But it's something that I put together that I think that we should consider, especially now when we have two employees who do not necessarily have to take the insurance, so we could both opt out, which does still save, if Ryan and I both were to opt out at this time, the cost savings is $11,588 if we do opt out, or if we take the insurance, it's estimated at the $44,000 for the full healthcare benefit.
Did you find out, when was you talking earlier about the insurance company, you guys was paying for insurance but wasn't receiving it?
Right, so I started to question the insurance company, and when I noticed that the contract was outdated, their first response back to me was that that they should hold the city responsible for me for when my hire date was, which would have been November, and charge the city for that year of insurance as a new employee. Even though I didn't receive the insurance, they wanted to charge me or charge the city for that cost. And that's when I asked them to share with me the actual contracts that they were dealing with, where I found out that the contract was actually expired. And we actually have not heard back from the company since I signed the one, which was a previous one that had not been updated. But I told them that I was not going to sign the new one until I brought it to the council for discussion.
Yeah.
Which I obviously too, I do not feel that my decision or Ryan's decision should have anything to do with the other employees' decisions who do need healthcare. So please keep that in mind, that I certainly don't want anything to be questioned for the bargaining unit that gets their healthcare. I don't have a problem with that. I just wanted to put this out here because I don't feel that Ryan and I should have to sacrifice our full benefit just because we're in a different situation.
Well, I think first thing, my concern is the uncertainty around offering health insurance, that we don't have a solid offering, if that makes sense, so.
Well, we did get that, so.
Well, if you're telling me it's expired and it's kind of up in the air, that's concerning.
So the non-bargaining one is expired,
That's what I'm saying.
not our current one, which then I included in your packet. They finally did send Ryan and I a 2-page plan TA benefit that was given to us, which was not even provided to me when I started. And that's the other thing too that I questioned when I emailed them back, that when I started as an employee, not only was I not given what the plan even was, but I wasn't given any paperwork to join the plan or not join the plan or anything.
Sure.
But obviously it's in question now because I'm trying to decide if what I can share for Ryan, if he's being offered healthcare benefits, that we couldn't even get that to share with him so that he could have the conversation about whether or not he wanted to take the benefits. But we have it now. This 2-page paper is what we were given, and I have not submitted to the insurance company the team care for non-bargaining contract that they have, which is actually I think it's called a non-participant agreement, or non-bargaining participant agreement, non-bargaining participant agreement.
Well, to be blunt, I'm not in favor of any type of stipend for opting out. I don't think it's, in my opinion, we're offering it as an elective. If you choose to take it, that's to your benefit. If you don't, that's your decision. This is not a reflection of performance or anything of that nature. I just personally don't feel that it's, people pay a premium to have healthcare coverage. A cash stipend is not an equivalent, in my opinion. The only thing I can see potentially is that if, this does concern me a little bit. The only thing I can see is somehow a payment to like a flex spending account or something along those lines, healthcare related benefit, but not a cash stipend. To me, I don't like that idea at all. I think it's just not something I can get behind. So I have concerns about, I understand your concerns about this and how you were onboarded and how there was nothing there. I'm assuming that's because of years of the same person in this position and there's just never been a need for it. But I would really like to get this kind of nailed down and confirmed with how that looks going forward, because that is concerning. That you were not you didn't have a website to go enroll or try to even enroll.
So I think I did share this too previously. In education, the same type of thing as a state employee was offered to us as administrators or anyone that was offered family health care benefits. It started off that the option in the state of Iowa was that it could go into a 403B or an educational 401k basically, but that did change probably 8 years ago, I think, to where it can go on to a salary. This stipend would not be, the city would not pay IPERS on the stipend. That would be part of the piece that would be taken out. And you mentioned the word elective, and I just want to put out there that it's an opt-in or a complete opt-out. So if we are not offered a stipend, then the two employees opt in at the $44,000. So just so we're clear on that too, that we're not necessarily being put in a position where we would consider it to be an elective to us. It's either we're all in or we're all out, and we have to make the decision according to this contract for both of us. So if I don't need it, Ryan decides he wants to take it, I have to change my family insurance so that he can take advantage of it for this to happen.
I thought it was just we had to pay the premiums. I
No.
thought that's the way it was written.
Because of the way that this uniqueness has been set up through Team Care, which is related to the union, that's how they've presented it to us. So they're telling us it's either you're both in or you're all out as a non-bargaining. It can't be that we only offer one in. So if you guys, I already have the city attorney on this as well. He's not been able to get anywhere with it. So I'm happy to do whatever. I just feel like we're in a situation that's.
So here's my thing. If we don't want to make a change for the bargaining, fine. Do we have to use Team Care for the non-bargaining? Absolutely not. We can decide what we want to do. It seems to me like we as a city shouldn't even be considering Team Care, just based on the situation that we're currently facing. Maybe that's not the route that we go, but we explore something else. I also struggle with having a cash stipend. It's not something I'm familiar with. Obviously, there obviously is places that are doing it. In the public sector, I guess I struggle with that. Even I'm in the private sector, we don't offer that, and I actually pay to have my husband as part of on my plan. And just with the landscape that we're in, I struggle doing that and spending that dollar. But I also struggle hearing it's a all in or all out. I struggle with that. I struggle with how this company is presenting that. And I think we need to act on that separately from this. I think it's two separate conversations.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, let's say you or Ryan decide to leave, and the next person comes on and they want it. they're making that decision for you? Is that what you're telling me, based on this team here? I find that.
That's here.
That's what we're being told, that like basically when Ryan came in,
Then, yeah.
that now, yes, that now I'm being told that it's an opt-in. Did I share?
And we're sure it's opt-in, like you both have to opt in, or you both
The
have to opt out.
non-participant agreement right now, or non-bargaining participation agreement that covers the employees that are not in the union. That's where we told Gary, now they're telling us that we would actually, according to the contract, would have to go back and pay for healthcare benefits into this central states fund, that we would have to pay into that fund because I was employed and that was what the agreement was that was signed off on. So this would have been probably when Mitch was mayor, I believe. And that's when I went back and said, well, how can they make us do that if I never even received the services? Like I was never offered I never signed anything. I've not been offered anything. So, that's where I'm coming from, that's what we're being told. So Ryan and I have both been on these emails. We're being told that it's either we both participate, and then if someone else comes in and it's a declared event, then I think that we have to deal with that probably at that time, because right now Ryan's been here since April and has no healthcare insurance or anything that was offered to him.
So we're just emailing back and forth.
Right.
So I guess what I would like to see is that we escalate that, emails. I'm not gonna keep doing that. I don't think that, obviously, we've been at this now for months. There's gotta be a.
Sorry, when I say email, like Brian the city attorney is also involved with emailing the
I don't
company directly.
I think we need to get a call and we need Team Care to come on site.
So I also requested
And I
that.
would like to be there.
Yep, I've also requested that they be on site, and I have not had a response to
Well,
that
that
either.
So the
And in this
Fire.
contract also says that,
Firemen.
right, then in this contract, it also says that, that we aren't allowed to hold an insurance outside of Team Care
For anybody.
for anybody.
So I would assume if we were to leave Team Care for the non-bargaining, we would have to renegotiate and go through bargaining. Or does it say specifically, what is our
Yes, it goes specifically by our union
union
contract.
contract?
Bargaining.
Well, I know that the laws regarding healthcare bargaining changed. And I brought it up when we signed the contract and I got shut down. There are rules about that. They're not supposed to be negotiated with the contract anymore, I believe. So we need to double check through that.
Yeah,
Because this is unacceptable if we can't even get a straight answer. As far as what healthcare is available to our full-time employees, non-bargaining.
And I have never heard of a healthcare organization who you have to opt all in or all out. I've never
Yes.
heard of that.
Yes. So right now, even how it was negotiated or how it certainly is set up, we have one particular person that's not full family but pays full family. Technically.
Yeah, I want them on site.
And even, like you said, could we get the
The
union,
union leadership.
get the union rep in?
I think, yeah, we need union.
So we did get the union rep involved, and he also received the same response back that there is no opt-out. And I have the emails to show you that we're being told there's no option for opt-out. So, yeah. So I felt it was time to bring it to council's attention. I also felt that in the meantime, obviously, you make the decision or you don't make the decision, but, so the other city examples that I shared for consideration are in there, similar. so that you know that it's not unheard of now in municipalities. It's
How do they
not unheard
levy,
of.
how do they levy that then? Because what you're saying, isn't there a levy for, would we levy a specific amount for insurance? So
Yes, but
we're
we don't
asking-
levy a full amount for the insurance. Like right
So
now,
where
our
would the
insurance is
stipend
over
come from?
92,000. It would come from the other portions in the general fund. Or water, or however the employees are paid. So like right now, 5 employees times 22,000 is,
110.
yeah, 110,000. And we only levy 76,000 because that's how we keep the levy lower. Or 70,000, I can't remember exactly what's in the budget for this year.
I'm just not in favor of it personally, but I'm just one vote, so. But I do feel like the insurance, we need to figure that out, so I hear your frustration there and whatever we can do to escalate that, like, what are other communities
Yeah,
using
what's
for?
Benton News or Center Point or?
Yeah, how do they?
Center Point does not have union, I don't believe.
So did the union bring us team care? How
Yes.
did we get team care?
That was brought
From the Teamsters.
with the Teamsters, like, that's why there's an agreement for the bargaining, and then because of the size, because we're small, the way that they get the cheaper, that's why I said, I didn't necessarily want this to conflict, because the way that they get a better rate or with healthcare is because Team Care allows them to be part of the larger bargaining unit of all those of the healthcare benefit that's brought to them. However, I do not believe that a non-participating employee that has nothing to do with the union, that they should have any control over what insurance is offered or not offered to non-bargaining employees. I don't believe that it ever should have been signed off on, but of course that's not up to me, but it's just strange to me. Maybe they did it that way because it's such a small unit here that it allowed them, because there was 2 other employees at the time that also needed family insurance, and it allowed a smaller unit to join a larger unit. I'm assuming that's what the reasoning was behind it, but it was only taking into consideration people that needed it. And I believe that there should be something in place for employees that don't opt. And if we do have to opt in, it doesn't fiscally make sense that we either have to decide that we're gonna pay for 2 employees that don't really need it, $44,000, or we go some route and pay $24,000 or $25,000 by stipend, and then Ryan and I can use that and pay toward our own or healthcare that, like you said, my husband has to pay for family insurance for us. I'm sure that his family pays for family insurance, and that should be offered up to us. And unfortunately, it would need to be in a salary, because that's the only way we'd be able to help pay for it. But again, I think that's up to. So I will do my best to continue to escalate this, and also make the request that we have someone on site from Team Care.
Well, I think we need to.
I think we should shop around for other.
Yeah, I agree.
insurance.
We should
Just
look
forget
for
about
other options, if we can. What it looks like, I don't know.
it.
Is that the insurance company, can they point us in a direction? I don't know.
Yeah, I think now, because there's contracts involved, I do think that we also need to take the lead from the city attorney, because if there is a contract signed and they come back and say that we're held to that contract.
But it's expired. It's a
Right,
bargaining.
but it's expired now. It expired June of 2024.
So we have nothing signed right now.
No, but this is where Brian has said that they're going to come back, they can come back and say that we have to pay for me, even though I didn't elect the insurance, and the city would have to pay, because I was hired in 2023, that I would have to pay out what the contract was for 2023 through June of 2024. So that's why I've also been waiting on a response from the attorney, and he has also not got a response. So in the
Because he's
interim,
asking the insurance company what they wanna do, like, what is he asking, what is he doing?
so he's trying to look into the legal side of it. So he's trying to get the information from them legally now on what the agreements are. So we got the agreements back that we now have that are both expired.
Mhm.
And then the new one that's for non-bargaining participation agreement, which is not signed, is the
Okay.
one that I'm saying is not signed.
So can he come to our meeting with these people? Like, and have all of this laid out, have a discussion, I agree, I think we need to shop around and see what's available and what's out there.
If you haven't signed, then you're not obligated.
Well, actually, that's not true.
The timing of when.
The timing of everything
Signed.
that the attorney looked at says that they can actually hold us liable because it was a signed agreement, regardless if it wasn't actually offered to me or that I actually didn't take it. It was still a signed contractual agreement from my date of employment, which would have been November of 2023. So I will follow up with Brian. I'll also follow up again and call Team Care and request an on-site meeting with them.
They have to have a rep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if we want, I mean, I can take and work with you on options.
Yeah.
Do this every day.
Definitely. I think if you can move something faster than what we've tried to do or the attorneys tried to do, I definitely think that we should do that.
I don't know, I think the employee handbook discussion probably should be tabled, in my opinion. I'd rather have him here, and I think it's a longer discussion that's needed tonight, or with the remaining time tonight. Do you think we can get through the sidewalk assessment and the energy efficiency?
The sidewalk assessment is simply just something that I've only got in a memo form that we can certainly bring back. That actually would go into maybe the conversation, August, September is when we're supposed to start our conversations with ECOG about comprehensive planning. So that actually would be more in that comprehensive planning, so I can send you the memo that I prepared. The other one was just to let you know that Trent and I are working on an energy efficient grant for downtown improvements. It's a federal grant, but portions of that are distributed to regional. And I don't know if it's going to be something that is going to end up being worth the time, but I think that the proposal and the grant questions that we got are basically, it would be for the downtown Wood Street. The proposal that Trent and I were thinking is to take those 8, it's specifically for, sorry, let me go back, like replacing existing streetlights, traffic signals, things that are in your downtown that could be an improvement to the downtown, but also energy efficient. So we have 8 lights, street lights that are down there that are right on Wood Street. And Trent and I were going to put together this proposal with a cost estimate of what it could save the city, which although it wouldn't be a ton of money, because I think the 8 poles that are currently down there are considered by Alliant to be energy efficient. However, we rent those, so they're metered and it's rent. If we own it, there's a much different cost savings. So like how we've done the black street lighting that's on Sunset, Town Center, Richland, I think Shiloh, does Shiloh have the new ones now too, I think? So we were gonna look into that to see if we could replace the 8 with a different, not as fancy as Sunset, but not as fancy too as Town Center, but a black pole that could be energy efficient that would provide the, I wanna say it's on this downtown stretch, it would provide the outward look to improve the downtown aesthetics. It would also provide the option for the pole, you know, if we were to do decorative things. And just because we've kind of set in that era of the downtown walk around that we did, and we've listed in the improvements about the downtown and the black streetlights down there, that if there was possibility that we could get some kind of funding that may help that, we were just wanting to look into it. So I just added it as one of the items in the energy efficient, or in the work session. So the other two can easily be tabled, and I can also share more information about this grant.
Motion to table section A and B. Do we want to, when did you say EC cover was coming?
Well, August, September is when we're supposed to start, where they'll come do an overview of like the comprehensive planning that's going to be done with the community. That's where the sidewalk assessment was simply, you know, we've been doing some work with the trail grant, some other things, and sidewalk assessment with how we could develop possibly like a phase plan over several years. What could that look like? Because Trent has said in the past, typically sidewalks, because they are so expensive, and once you tear up a sidewalk, it has to become ADA compliant, that we look at something that if we were to do a phasing like that, what projects, street projects would we have up? Would we identify any of those sidewalks and street things that we do have coming up? And is the city interested in doing anything where we would do a sidewalk assessment? I mean, we have definitely an older part of town that has some rubbled type sidewalks that I believe are sometimes an issue, but we also have a new part of our development that doesn't even have sidewalks. So I just thought that putting something like that in more of a comprehensive plan gives us a lot of options also for grant writing, that we can put different things in, you know, different phases of a project. If you were to get grant dollars for certain things, you know, it's very similar to like safe sidewalks. It used to be safe routes to school. Now it falls under the DOT. Different things like that to show that the city is working toward something. So all three of those could actually be tabled if that's what you'd like to do.
I'll second Jeff's motion.
I mean, for sure, I want the employee handbook on the next meeting. I don't know if we need to sit on the next meeting's agenda, but.
Do you have a grant in mind for the lights, and is there a deadline? Or that can be-
Yes, so the grant is the Iowa Energy Efficiency and Conservation Grant that is a federal dollars. It does say applications are due August 1st. The person that I'm in contact with, like, we literally for the grant questions have 2 questions left, basically, which would be like, what would be our design plan or a cost estimate for the project, like that type of thing.
Is there a city match to that grant?
There is not a city match requirement, however, it does say if the city were to put a local match, it is not required, but would improve the scoring for that.
My opinion is if we want to and we can get it in without a city match, we try. If we don't get it, we don't get it.
Right.
The reason I don't want to put anything, my reasoning for not wanting to put a city match is because I want to go through that community involved ECOG work and see where the communities would like to see the focus with downtown. I mean, I think what I see is, are we shifting, yes, that's our downtown, and yes, it's more historic, but are we shifting more of our energy to town center and this side of town? Is that where the community wants to be centered? I think that work is gonna be, hopefully, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but what I see ECOG doing is asking some of those questions, and it kind of goes back to some of that work that we had when, that Benton development group came through our downtown. So that's my reasoning, is just to be a little bit more strategic. I think asking for a grant, if it's a grant, great, and we have the time and the capacity to do that before August 1st. I just don't want to put any match into that at this point.
Yep, and we did talk about that too with the ECOG when we started to develop the comprehensive planning, is the downtown, uptown philosophy. And at that time, I said that that would be a great topic for the comprehensive planning. So exactly what you just said.
And I think that street's on the plan, future plan to rip out, so you won't want to put sidewalks and poles in there, you know.
Part of that.
Right.
It's not,
Water and sewer lines, so
right, that's good.
So that's a good point.
you're not gonna tear it out twice.
Yeah. So maybe it's just not a good time for the grant. I mean, we can certainly submit it with.
I would still submit it because that probably the cost of those poles are expensive.
Not great.
You could put the poles in and take them out if you're redoing the street. You know, the grant.
Right. Okay. All right.
We need to vote on that for the motion.
Well, we probably do. I have Bendel motion to table work session items and Holthouse seconded.
Yeah, we're motioning all three of them, correct?
I think so.
And who was second? Okay. We'll vote. Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Baskin.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Mendel.
Yes.
Everybody? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn.
And I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So this house.
Yeah.
We have
All
that we should.
built.
Yeah. Want me to share that?
Well,
Not yet.
I typically do that. We don't use it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is it locked?
Would be like 78, right?
you're here Friday afternoon.
That way you look it up. I'm closer to the.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure yet, but yes, I think so. I have,
To the meter.
it has a camp, and I have to get her to the camp.
Bring a car on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I have a thread I can certainly send you because it's been quite frustrating for us.
Right.
And then, regulars to be slow and then just do the vacation too, so I know that. I agree.
Yeah, let me do some checking and then I'll look at some other potentials and maybe shoot those in.